Metro and surrounding areas. As part of addressing funding challenges, the Department of Water and Sanitation has set up a water partnership office that assists municipalities to contract for public-private partnerships. A vehicle for achieving this is the Infrastructure Fund, which is a blended finance instrument aimed at making infrastructure projects attractive for the private sector. Honorable Chairperson, to assist municipalities that are impacted by aging infrastructure, government is also implementing the following interventions: implementation of a more effective water conservation and demand management program to ensure that industries use water sparingly. This includes implementation of water restrictions with the aim to reduce consumption and ensure sustainable distribution of water to residents. Secondly, COPTA has established municipalities perform turnaround strategies that are aimed at providing an overview of plans and areas requiring national and provincial support, focusing on the 10 worst-performing municipalities in the Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Northwest, and the Northern Cape. Development of multi-year reliable water and sanitation services, delivery implementation plans to assess service delivery have identified solutions, thereby prioritizing projects for grant funding. The Department of Water and Sanitation, COPTA, Municipal Infrastructure Support Agency, Department of Human Settlement, and National Treasury are allocating over 60 billion rand per annum to municipalities for water and sanitation infrastructure, including technical, engineering, capacity building, training, and financial management advice. COPTA is allocating funding through the Municipal Infrastructure Grant, earmarked for operations and maintenance. The Department of Water and Sanitation has also developed infrastructure asset management guidelines to assist and support municipalities to develop their own operations and maintenance plans. The Department of Water and Sanitation is also promoting the following policy programs and interventions: water conservation and demand management programs to bring water consumption per capita in line with international benchmarks, development of 5-year reliable water and sanitation services, delivery implementation plans through interactive session with water service authorities to develop project scoping resulting in 5-year pipeline of projects that are prioritized for grant funding. The Department of Water and Sanitation has also developed an infrastructure asset management guideline to assist and support municipalities to deliver their own operations and maintenance plan. In conclusion, Chairperson, these measures aim to ring-fence revenues from water sales and equip water service institutions with the necessary technical and managerial capabilities to maintain and operate infrastructure effectively. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We now go to the follow-up questions, and the first follow-up question will be from the Honourable Moimang, who asked the initial question. Honourable Moimang.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Greetings to the Deputy President and honourable colleagues in the House. Honourable Deputy President, let me express my gratitude to the manner in which you responded to the question that I posed and the interventions that the Deputy President has raised, and also to appreciate the transfer close to 60 billion that the Deputy President made reference to. However, Deputy President, the reality on the ground is that the outcomes that we see do not match this level of financial investment because of challenges around failure to spend grants, lack of technical capacity, but also the challenges around the adequacy of operations and maintenance. Now, my question, Deputy President, is to what extent is the water task team assisting the government in utilizing the district development model, not only to deal with the symptoms of challenges around our municipalities, but also to ensure that we have a capable and developmental municipalities that are able to adequately spend allocated funds, but also to ensure that our people have reliable and quality drinking water supply. Thank you, Deputy President. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Moimang. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Moimang, what we've decided to do with the water task team is really to work through the district development model that you are talking about, because the district development model helps us to reach out to all municipalities together with the province. We're able to get the premiers, we're able to get the mayors, MECs and MMCs and municipal managers. Through the district development model, we are able then to reach out to all these areas. What we have done so far is to ensure that through the DDM, we do outreach programs to the various areas, particularly where there are challenges of water. We are then able to assess those challenges. We are then able to suggest interventions that should be made. So far through the district development model, we have been already to the Free State, we have been to KZN, we have been to Gauteng, and we have been also to Mpumalanga. We are looking to go into other provinces as well through these outreach programs as a water task team with the Minister of Water. The Minister has been to other areas as well where I couldn't accompany her, like Hammanskraal in Gauteng, but I've been with her, for instance, to Limpopo. So yes, I see the district development model being the way in which the water task team will operate in ensuring that we intervene in all these areas to ensure that people receive not only enough water in their areas, but also good quality drinkable water for people to use. Thank you very much, Honourable Moimang.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We move to the next follow-up question from the Honourable Dr. Shipokosa.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, your predecessor, Mr. Didi Mabuza, visited Umfuleni local municipality following questions in this House to investigate the water issues. The result has been a Section 63 intervention by the National Department into the water and sanitation services in the municipality's competency. We also know that you have visited there to monitor the process. The results were initially pleasing, but the progress has all but stopped and the regression again has become evident. So my question, has your office continued to monitor this, or have you left it up to the department to manage it alone? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Shipokosa. Deputy Minister, your response to that.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Yes, Honourable Member, after I was appointed as Deputy President, I followed up the work that was done by the former Deputy President Mabuza. I visited Mfuleni more than once, initially with the Minister of Water. At the time it was Minister Senzo Mtunu. We went to inspect the facilities there, the treatment plants, and you will recall that at the time people were complaining about this sewer spillages in the various areas, particularly affecting households. We then decided that we will intervene, and at the time, Minister Mtunu then ensured that we upgrade the water treatment plants to ensure that it operates properly. So far, I know that the current Minister of Water and Sanitation, Honorable Pemima Jodina, has also been to Gauteng a number of times. So we are monitoring that situation. If indeed there is deterioration, I will inform the Minister that we immediately focus once again in that area. But it is our approach with the water task team that we will visit these areas, particularly where there are water challenges. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Suwisa.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Deputy President. Deputy President, it is concerning to note how the ruling party has deliberately failed to prepare for water provision for our people despite years of warning. In Amajuba District Municipality, for example, the Brakfontein Reservoir has been under revamping since 2020, and yet to date the reservoir is still only at 90% completion. Why is it that the reservoir has not been concluded in 5 years after the project was initiated? And why do the communities across provinces continue to face water crises when budgets are allocated year after year for the maintenance and creation of new water infrastructure? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Suwisa. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Suwisa, yes, it is true that it has taken a bit of time to intervene in some of these areas, particularly because initially the approach was that municipalities themselves should take a responsibility to ensure that they deal with water infrastructure and so on. But we realize that a number of municipalities are actually struggling financially. As a result, a lot of water infrastructure in many areas have not been upgraded. And that leads to leakages and the loss of revenue, water. So what we have done now, if you recall that the President in the State of Nation address this year did indicate that we will be spending about 940 billion rand over the MTF, particularly to support water infrastructure and maintenance and operations in municipalities, particularly struggling municipalities. The metros themselves may have sufficient resources to do this work, but municipalities in rural areas do need the support of national government, and that's what we are going to be doing. We have started that work, and we are ensuring that we deal with this aging infrastructure in many areas to be able to supply water properly to communities. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Nsimande.
No, thank you, Deputy President. Facts are showing growth in non-revenue water owing to infrastructure. One municipality, it is reported that 140,000 liters per day are lost, which translates to 480 million. I want just to ask the Deputy President, we have heard that he's just talking about the plans, they're still in the planning stage, that how does the government plan to ensure that the plans they have are sustainable and not just a temporal measure? But secondly, how is the government intending to deal with the challenge that is growing in relation to the percentage of risk for treatment water plants, which is now above 70%. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nzimande. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Nzimande, we are going to ensure that these plans are sustainable. You will recall that the President last year assented to the South African National Water Resources Infrastructure Agency. Now, this agency, it's intended to pull this work together nationally up to locals to ensure that we address to address the challenges of water in all the areas. So I believe that with the implementation of this decision, we are going to be able to deal with these problems decisively. In fact, when the President spoke this morning at the Water Summit, he indicated to the delegates there that we are going to put strict time frames on all these plans. So we're not just going to say, oh yes, we've got good plans to deal with challenges of water. We are going to put strict time frames to ensure that all these plans should be implemented by particular dates so that we can hold people accountable. So that's the serious manner in which we take this matter. As the President said this morning, that people can't live without water. You may live without other things, but water is a necessity. As I said earlier, water is life. So we are going to ensure that these sustainable plans are monitored and to ensure that there's accountability, to ensure that they are implemented everywhere to ensure the improvement that we seek. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next set of questions, and that is question number 2 that was posed by the Honorable Boshoff, the question that deals with service delivery and job creation. Honorable Deputy President, your response to that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Boshoff, thank you very much for this important question. Honorable members, the National Development Plan 2030 outlines a long-term economic growth strategy focusing on macroeconomic stability, structural reforms, and improved state capability to achieve sustainable growth, address inequality, and promote inclusive growth. As government, we must tackle the financial and operational challenges within our state-owned enterprises to boost growth. Hence, we have introduced a number of initiatives. To this end, government will spend more than 940 billion rand on infrastructure over the next 3 years, including 375 billion in spending by state-owned companies or enterprises themselves. Transnet has developed a 5-year capital investment plan that focuses on infrastructure rehabilitation, capacity expansion, and freight logistics modernization. Transnet will further invest 127.7 billion rand on rail, port, and pipeline infrastructure over the next 5 years to increase network efficiency and boost long-term economic development. The investment plans include, amongst others, rail infrastructure rehabilitation, addressing backlogs in locomotives availability, track maintenance and signaling systems to restore reliability and improve operational efficiency. Number 2, port expansion and modernization. The plan involves increasing container handling capacity at Durban, Ngqura, and Cape Town ports, upgrading bulk commodity terminals, purchasing and refurbishing equipment, and acquiring new tugs to enhance port efficiency. Pipeline infrastructure investments, expanding fuel and gas pipeline capacity to enhance energy security and efficiency in fuel transportation. Given Transnet financial constraints, the funding required for these investments will come from multiple sources, that is the private and public sector, but also including Transnet's own balance sheet. Transnet plans to improve logistics, reliability, support industrial expansion, and facilitate trade growth in South Africa's freight transport system. The country's infrastructure investment goals of 10% rely on successful mobilization of public and private sector capital. Chairperson, the network industries are critical for infrastructure development necessary for economic growth. Therefore, private sector participation in SOEs is key to enable access to capital and capacity required to expand infrastructure in South Africa. On the energy space, Eskom has been able to build more than 4,000 kilometers of transmission lines over the last 10 years. However, the unsuccessful allocation of 3,000 megawatts of wind capacity under bid window 6 has necessitated the expansion of the grid to connect renewable energy. The Eskom grid still needs to be expanded by more than 14,000 kilometers of lines by 2030. Furthermore, government has announced the launch of independent transmission projects, ITPs, which is a key initiative to transform the country's energy and infrastructure sectors. The ITP process aims to unlock substantial investments in transmission infrastructure, which is crucial for supporting economic growth, attracting private sector participation, and driving innovation in the energy sector. The triple Ps in South Africa can benefit citizens by utilizing private sector resources and expertise to address public needs, improve service delivery, and stimulate economic growth. By aligning government and private sector objectives through consultative and participatory techniques and regular communication, resources can be efficiently used for a larger population. In conclusion, Chairperson, government and the private sector must therefore collaborate to assist ordinary South Africans, especially those from historically disadvantaged communities, to play a meaningful role in the mainstream economy and facilitate the creation of job opportunities, particularly for the youth of our country. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We now move on to the follow-up questions, and the first follow-up question would be from the Honourable Boshoff.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Just to the Deputy President, can I do my response with a swing, with the music in the background? Deputy President, I'm happy to hear that you are now speaking to private participation, because that's what we've been advocating for years. And in your Financial Times interview, you said that privatization is no longer perceived to be a swear word amongst the ANC contingent. As well, in the recent SONA, the President stressed the need for private sector partnerships to rescue struggling SOEs like Eskom and Transnet. However, Deputy President, despite these statements, we continue to see inefficiencies, mismanagement and service failures. Given this reality, will you commit right here and now to a clear timeline for private sector participation in Eskom and Transnet? And can you provide a specific deadline for when South Africans will see measurable improvements, or are we again to expect more talk without action? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Boshoff. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, Honourable Chairperson, and thank you, Honourable Boshoff, for the follow-up question. Yes, Honourable Boshoff, the important thing is that we must see implementation. In fact, that's what Cabinet is focusing on now. We have enough plans. We must now focus on implementation. So the issues that I'm talking about now, about ESCOM, Transnet, I'm talking about things that are already in the pipeline. A lot of these processes to ensure public sector participations will be rolling out in the course of this year. And I'm sure that many of them would be concluded before the end of this year to ensure that we see implementation, because it is quite urgent that we sort out the problem of our rail infrastructure, sort out logistics and challenges in our ports. It is also important that we do have capacity in terms of our transmission networks. So some of the processes to invite the private sector are already rolling out as we speak. And I'm sure that we will see in the course of the coming few months that a lot of these agreements with the private sector will indeed be concluded. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. The next follow-up question will be taken by the Honourable Nonkonyana.
Chairperson and honourable members, I rise, Deputy President, to thank you very much for your elaborate reply. It must be emphasized, Mr. President, Deputy President, that state-owned enterprises play a pivotal role in transforming the economy of South Africa and serve as a vehicle for achieving improved economic growth and reduction of poverty. However, this requires to ensure that they have sound governance systems and structures that are functional, as well as the officials that are skilled to perform their duties. Now, Mr. President, Deputy President, arising from your question, can you assure us that the government, which is led by the African National Congress, will continue in its progressive task to make sure that DA and everyone else make sure that the state-owned enterprises are actually in a position to deliver, so that our people can get jobs and, of course, our economy can grow, so that we can all live happy in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nonkonyana. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Nonkonyan. Honourable Nonkonyan, you are quite correct. Our intervention in state-owned enterprises, amongst others, is to ensure that they should create jobs in our country. And for them to be able to do so, they must have sound governance structures. They should be managed properly. There shouldn't be corruption in our state-owned enterprises, and plans must be implemented. One of the things that has been done, Honourable Nkonyane, is to initiate the National State Enterprise Bill, which is currently being processed by Parliament. This bill is going to, amongst others, set up the State Asset Management Company, which is going to take the responsibility to coordinate and ensure that our SOEs in South Africa are operating on a sound basis, and that there's regular communication and there will be accountability. So indeed, I can assure this House that these steps are going to be taken. I think as soon as this bill is processed through Parliament, we are now going to focus on implementation and ensure that this asset management company start with its responsibilities of coordinating all the state-owned enterprises to make sure that they are on sound footing, they operate properly, and also help us to create jobs in South Africa, which is one of the biggest challenges that we face currently. So I can't agree with you more that, in fact, that's exactly what we need to be doing, and we will do exactly that. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Kesa.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair of the NCOP. Deputy President, the fundamental principle of state-owned enterprises is that they must serve the people and the nation. State-owned enterprises in South Africa are essential for socio-economic development and financial sustainability of this country. However, what has been clear throughout the years is that corruption is detrimental to the SOEs itself. Moreover, the AG raised an alarm over Transnet's financial sustainability, mounting liabilities, with staggering debt load of 137 billion, an annual service cost exceeding 14 billion. Reliance on debt, coupled with operational inefficiencies, raised serious concerns over its ability to maintain crucial infrastructure. In light of this, Deputy President, what measures will you put in place to ensure that there are structures of accountability to strengthen governance, oversight in place, including competent and ethical boards, and appointment based on merit in all SOEs? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kesa. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and thank you very much to Honorable Chesa. The Cabinet has received the report from the Auditor General, and we've noted all the issues that the Auditor General raised with respect to challenges faced by our state-owned companies. There is a very rigorous process of appointing boards to state-owned enterprises, even with government departments. But with state-owned companies, we require a very rigorous process where these boards are interviewed. Members of these boards are properly interviewed, processed by ministers, supported by a panel of experts, and they are then submitted to Cabinet for final approval. And once people have applied and are being processed, there is also a very rigorous process that ensures that all the applicants are screened properly using state authorities that are given that task. So we are just making sure that we appoint the right people to the boards, because I agree with you that we must ensure that these boards work effectively, help us to create employment for people in our communities, especially young people. So we are monitoring this process, as I said, and we are going to make sure that the right people with the requisite skills are appointed to any of the boards of our state-owned enterprises to be able to make them successful. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next follow-up question that comes from the Honorable Van den Berg.
Thank you, Chair. Today I get to ask a question to you, Deputy President, the one that I'm asked a lot, and that is, Deputy President, are you familiar with the dead horse theory? It states that if you ride a dead horse, it is probably best to dismount it. The post office is the best example of such a dead horse, being kept alive only by sentiment. Given our budget deficit challenges, is it not at least possible to lighten the economic load by at least putting that dead horse under the ground in order to save some of the other sick horses that are still in the herd? I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable President, Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you to Honourable Van der Berg. Yes, the post office has not been doing well for a number of years now. So the Presidential Commission on State-Owned Enterprises has looked at all this number of state-owned enterprises. There are state-owned enterprises that may be matched with others to ensure efficiency. But before we can say it's a dead horse that must be put down, we just need to go through those reports properly, look at what the challenges are, particularly because, Honourable Van der Berg, you'll know that in rural areas, one of the institutions that really reaches out to the rural areas is the post office, where many institutions don't reach out. Even banks, you'll find the post office. So it is serving the poorest of the poor. So by the time we say, no, this mechanism of the post office is not working, we need to replace it with something that is workable, because otherwise we can create a gap where we close down an institution and there's a vacuum and people are not being served. And I'm particularly concerned that ordinary poor people in rural areas really rely on the post office to be able to receive services. And therefore, whatever will be done going forward must ensure that in the absence of that institution, there is an alternative that is going to perform those tasks to ensure that those people in rural areas in particular continue to be served in the absence of certain institutions. So we will analyze this properly, we'll look at it, and we'll make sure we take the right decision going forward. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We now move on to the next question, that is question number 3 that was posed by the Honourable Medupe, that the question deals with disaster management plans. Honourable Deputy President, your response to that question, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me begin by appreciating this important question by Honourable Medupe. Honourable members, as a country, we face significant risks from climate change, including extreme temperature changes, increased rainfall, floods, and threats to biodiversity and water resources. These natural disasters call for the creation of a climate-resilient and disaster management plans at all levels of government. Over the past few weeks, we have seen KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng have been severely impacted by heavy rain or rainfall and flooding, causing significant damage to infrastructure, roads, households, and tragic loss of human life. While provincial and municipal disaster management teams continue to conduct rapid damage assessment to affected communities in order to determine the extent and magnitude of damages and further provide immediate relief to the needy, we have been advised that the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government has already initiated contingency plans to mitigate these and future disasters. These are driven by relevant line function departments in line with their different mandates. Government is also implementing strict measures to expedite the development of climate resilient and disaster management plans by municipalities, ensuring coordinated disaster response across all spheres of government. In this regard, the National Disaster Management Center, NDMC, develops, monitors, and regularly reviews disaster management plans in line with the Disaster Management Act of 2002. The Disaster Management Act mandates all government organs to create disaster management plans to prevent, mitigate, prepare for, and respond to and recover from disasters. These plans outline investments in line with change adaptation, including ecosystem and community-based approaches. In terms of a unified approach to disaster and preparedness by municipalities and districts, the National Disaster Management Center and Provincial Disaster Management Centers are required to develop plans to ensure risk mitigation, public safety, infrastructure resilience, resource allocation, coordination and communication, and public awareness and education. To date, a total of 175 management plans have been submitted to the National Disaster Management Center. We have also been advised that the KZN Provincial Disaster Management Center, PDMC, has provided technical support to 54 municipalities and 12 sector departments in KwaZulu-Natal to develop disaster management plans, thus ensuring coordinated planning and response to disasters. Chairperson, furthermore, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment is responsible for coordinating the creation of vulnerability assessment and climate change adaptation response plans for provincial and district municipalities. All 9 provinces and 44 district municipalities have already developed these plans, requiring resource mobilization from various sectors, including the South African Weather Service Forecast and the National Disaster Management Center's hazard profile. We encourage all organs of the state to develop these plans through engagement with all relevant stakeholders to align efforts and streamline responsibilities. In conclusion, Chairperson, however, these engagements must be supported by the development of memorandums of understanding to clarify the roles and responsibilities of the different arms of the states, departments at national, local, provincial, and local level. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We move to the follow-up questions, and the first one will be from the Honourable Medupi.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Madume Motlatsa Tautuna Yanaha. Honourable Deputy President, it is very clear that climate change is altering the face of disaster risk in our country, not only through increased weather-related risk and sea level and temperature rises, but also through increase in societal vulnerabilities. For example, from stresses on water availability, agriculture and ecosystems. My question is whether government has looked at ways of using reviews of national disaster management framework to move towards risk reduction and align the Sindai framework for disaster risk reduction to improve our national capabilities, particularly those of the municipalities to respond more effectively to disaster whilst also developing a national climate resilience and disaster management planning framework. So I move.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Realeboha, Honourable Medupi, for that question. Yes, indeed, in 2015, the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction was established to help government to reevaluate and has enhanced global management strategies. Where we are now, Honourable Medupi, we have as a South African government implemented the Disaster Management Act, which has then allowed us to set up the National Disaster Management Center, the one I just spoke about, the NDMC. And we have now rolled out that to provinces, where all provinces are required to have their provincial disaster management centers as well. And of course, this will then assist us to be able not to respond only adequately to disasters, but also to ensure that we can come up with preventative measures, because we think it's important that, because we are prone to disasters in many of our provinces now because of climate change, it's important that we focus on preparedness beyond just to ensure that we can respond when there are disasters. So a lot of focus is now put on preparedness to ensure that we can streamline our intervention, increase awareness before the disasters hit. So yes, Honorable Dupe, that has been done, and there is coordination now from the National Disaster Management Center with the Provincial Disaster Management Centers as well. They are all working together to ensure that we are well equipped and well prepared to deal with the disasters that we will be facing. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question, and that comes from the Honorable Pinar.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's just a pity the Deputy President's not here so I can look him in the eye today. Deputy President, the district development model has failed, as is to be expected with any forced centralized system. When will you put an end to this experiment, or are you using the DDM model to regain control at those local municipalities where the ANC has lost a majority? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pinar. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Pinar, what we are doing with the DDM is to ensure that we do what we call the whole of government approach. In other words, national government, provincial and local government work together to deal with the challenges that our communities are facing. So even with respect to disasters, we find it a very useful approach to use the DDM approach to deal with the issue of disasters. Somebody must mute.
Our apologies for that, Honorable Deputy President. Could that Honorable Member please mute and remain muted? Please proceed, yes. Honorable Deputy President.
Chairperson, I was saying to Honorable Pinar that where you have the national government, provincial and local government working together has proved to be very useful, because we pool our resources together, we create what we call one plan, and we then intervene and implement together. We think it's a very useful approach. So when you deal with disasters, in most cases, it will not be left only to a local municipality or even a province, but the national comes in to be able to deal with any kinds of disaster as well, because there's capacity at different levels. You may have a disaster in a local area, but there is no capacity there to intervene. So the DDM approach then becomes vital to ensure that we are able to deal with those challenges decisively. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Chirwa Mpongoza.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chairperson. Deputy President, it has now become a yearly reality that as South Africans enter a change of season, they are often subjected to tragic but predictable natural disasters in the form of floods. However, recent floods in KZN and other parts of the country have revealed that disaster management is not geared or capacitated to respond to natural disasters. Our oversight visit in Northwest at Potchefstroom, for instance, has indicated that municipalities are not ready to respond to any natural disaster. And in light of this, what then urgent steps of intervention have you taken to ensure that municipalities have functional disaster management centers? And what are your plans to better improve, including additional resources and more advanced technology efforts for disaster centers to ensure the safety of our people? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chirwa Mpongose. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Chirwa, as I indicated earlier, there are now more than 175 disaster management plans that have been submitted to the National Management Center, Disaster Management Center. And these are coming from all the local areas. So we are working with them. We are supporting the Provincial Disaster Management Center so that they are able to assist local municipalities, because as you also know, and all of us know, that disasters always happen at the local level, but often there is no capacity there. So what we are doing now is to ensure that we bring to bear this capacity that is so needed to be able to deal with disasters, because the issue of climate change is so real now. So you are correct to say that we should be predicting this. It's no longer a question of thinking maybe there will be a disaster. I think now it's predictable, looking at climate change, that we need to be ready. Also, Honorable Chirwa, it's also important that government coordinates as a whole. Bring other departments, your human settlements, because in some of areas you find that people build their homes or their houses on flat lines, and that should be avoided. So it's a question of government working together and ensuring that settlements are built in proper places, not in flat lines. Must not build settlements where people are vulnerable to strong winds and all these issues. So yes, I agree with you that we need to move fast with proper plans to ensure that we're not caught by surprise. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Briet.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Deputy President, I have to respectfully disagree with you. It doesn't help that we have plans and that we are looking at capacitating disaster management according to the DDM model, because we have disaster management centers in our districts and currently they are not working, even those that are capacitated. And an example of that is, and the worst time span was that the drought in the Free State in 2014, the funds for that was only paid out in 2019, 2020. That is 5-6 years later, which means that those farmers, those communities that were in dire need of disaster management and disaster management funding were helped after the fact, where many of those businesses had already closed down. So I would like to find out from you, how are you going to ensure that these disaster management centers effectively work and that we do not see disaster management centers only acting 6 years after the fact and our communities being at a risk once again? I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Honorable Briet. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Briet, indeed, proper interventions require funding. What we are doing as national government, we are getting the National Disaster Management Center to be able to assist provinces, to be able to assist locals, to be able to intervene. So we are not just saying let's have plans, let's be prepared, but we must also be prepared to put resources to assist, particularly these municipalities that don't have resources to deal with these disasters. So we are factoring that in our plans. The question of funding is not just we making plans and say, okay, you local municipalities in rural areas and poor areas, you'll say to finish. We are supporting them, and we are going to make sure that this is properly coordinated. You remember I indicated that the Disaster Management Act of 2002 was put in place in order to ensure that the state at all levels coordinate their plans, but also that means the plans must be followed by resources to ensure that we can succeed in what we are doing. Because if we just have plans and we don't resource them, what you are observing will continue to happen, that these centers won't work, they are not able to intervene. So we are going to follow up. We are going to make sure that through the DDM model, we go down to those areas, we work with them, we help them so that those centers can work. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. That brings us to the close of that question. We now move on to question number 4, Honourable Members. And that question was posed by the Honourable Makasini, and that deals with land claims. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Once more, let me thank Honourable Makasini for asking this important question. Honourable members, we have always maintained that the finalization of outstanding land claims remains one of the key priorities of this government. Over successive years, we have made good progress regarding the settlement of land claims and returning the land to those who were previously dispossessed. However, much more still needs to be done. In accelerating land access and land reform, government is working towards the inclusion, the conclusion of restitution cases, which includes prioritizing all other claims that would see the transfer of legally secure and legally registrable tenure to claimants with settlement packages. The Commission on Restitution of Land Rights has developed a backlog reduction strategy to create a detailed database of all outstanding claims to be settled. The strategy focuses on improved policies and standard operating procedures to reduce the time it takes to settle land claims. Following the Land Access Movement of South Africa judgment, LAMOSA, the Land Claims Court held that new order land claims are interdicted pending finalization of all order claims, or at least until new amended legislation has been enacted. In this regard, Honourable Chairperson, the Commission on Restitution of Land Rights is prohibited from processing any new order claims lodged between July 2014 and July 2016 until it has settled all or referred to land claims by the Land Claims Court, all claims lodged on or before 31st December 1998. In terms of this order, those claims cannot be prioritized. The new claims cannot be prioritized until those are attended to. The Commission has improved the speed of finalizing all order claims. However, the main constraint is the lack of sufficient financial resources. As part of the 2025 budget review statement, the National Treasury has indicated that the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development will expedite the finalization of outstanding land claims, prioritizing old order claims. In terms of these projections, about 11.6 billion rand will be allocated over the medium term to settle about 844 land restitution claims, with another 3 billion rand earmarked to allocate another 138,000 hectares of land to people. The Interministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture will continue to coordinate and collaborate with key lead departments to improve the turnaround times and also our capacity to fast-track the settlement of land claims. And this we will do in support of the country's broader land reform objectives. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We go to the follow-up questions, and the first one is from the Honourable Makasini.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Greeting, Deputy President. Deputy President, there are about 5,600 old order claims that are yet to be settled from 1998, which means it's 27 years that is outstanding. The Commission of Restitution of Land Right has indicated that they are able to settle not more than 300 claims per year, meaning that it will take 20 years to settle the older claims that are within the department. There are still over 100,000 new claims that are locked up because of the Lamusa judgment. Consider all this. Has the government considered this land redistribution component of considering all this claim has a completely failed program? Because if do we have any rethinking approach of any new approach that will make the process to be faster? What is your plan that is entailed to make sure you increase the capacity? Because you cannot wait another 20 years to settle while you have a backlog of 100,000 that are in the department. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini. Honourable Deputy President, your response to that.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Makasini, the Commission on the Restitution of Land Rights has also introduced what they call Project Kuyasa. And through this project, they want, amongst others, to come up with a strategy that will help us to reduce this backlogs faster. They want to put in business processing systems, come up with financial modeling that is going to be helpful, and so on. So they are coming with plans to ensure how we can deal with this matter faster. The new minister responsible for land reform has also been visiting all provinces, particularly where there are backlogs, and engaging with structures there in order to assist. So we agree that it has taken long, but the minister knows that what is needed now is to fast track. And I can assure this House that the minister is out there almost every week in all provinces. And I'm sure when he comes to the House to answer questions, he'll give you more details about the process and the progress we are making. We are putting more resources, as I've indicated, to be able to assist. Let me also say in conclusion, Honourable Kasini, that one of the challenges we face is sometimes the conflict that comes up with this project. When we are about to redistribute land, ensure restitution, sometimes we then get into difficulties of conflicts amongst communities and members of particular households and so on. So it does sometimes really hold us back. But we agree with you that we do need to move to a situation where we can now move in with new claims. And as soon as we can settle this all other claims, the better. And I can assure you that the minister is doing his best to ensure that we deal with this backlog. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Dlamini.
Good afternoon, Deputy President. Thank you, Honourable Chair, for giving me this opportunity. Ntate Mashatile, re a tseba hore issue ena land question e boima. Koloi ya teng ha e sa le ema ka 1913. E theola batho ba batsho, e theola batho ba mmala, e theola makhwensane le merabe ye meng e nena le lefatshe. Mme hona jwale le kene le Ntate Ramaphosa le kentse gear 1 koloi ena ya land question e a duma. Re kopa e accelerate e tsamaye, no reverse gear. Re a pele fela ka land question, re ka morao re a tshietsa. Potso ya ka ntate ke hore whether the government has set a time frame for settling and addressing or finalizing all other claims of the land. The latter part of the question you have already answered. That is the only part that I'll request the Honourable President to respond to. Ke a leboha Ntate Mashatile.
Thank you very much, Honourable Dlamini. Honourable Deputy President, your response to that question.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Dlamini, ke a leboga. Ne se ke bontshitse hore ba Commission on Restitution of Land Rights ba tlile ka project ba e bitsang Kuyasa ka mantswe a mang go ya khanya jwale. Project ena e tlo etsa hore ba lokise hore the old claims tsena backlog ena re fedise ka bonako ba tla ka strategy seo le hore ba tle le di system tse tlo di thusang le ga go na le tlhakatlhakanyo. Sometimes there are conflicts of beneficiaries. We can resolve them faster. But one of the things that we have done, as you also have alluded, that the president has now, put this into first gear. The Expropriation Act itself is going to help us to fast-track the issue of land reform. I know that when the president signed this act into law, there were those who were saying, oh, now we want to grab land from, white farmers and other people who have had land before. What we are doing with the Expropriation Act is really to ensure redress, to ensure that those who were previously denied and land was taken away from them do have access to land in a legal manner. So there's no way you can have the law and the law allow you to grab land just haphazardly. This law is going to help us to ensure that we fast-track land reform, but we do it within the parameters of the Constitution and the rule of law. Ke a leboga Honourable Dlamini gore koloi ga e duma ya tsamaya. We are going to make sure that our people do receive land, ba kgone lema le bona, ba kgone go aga dintlo tsa bona mo lefatsheng la bona. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We move on to the next follow-up question that comes from the Honourable Swart.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Deputy President, just before my question, I just want to, you've listened to all the questions and the challenges with outstanding land reform and claims. Then I'm just worried. Last week in the papers, in front page, it says that more than 800 farms, not 800 hectares, more than 800 farms laying fallow. There's nothing happening with that farms. Already went through the reform processes, but it's laying there fallow. Nothing is happening. My question to you, very softly, Mr. Deputy President, how will you ensure that land reform in the future benefit those who have the skills and the capacity to use the land productively rather than turning viable farmland into wasteland? And that has happened in many, many, many cases. Thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Swart. Honourable Deputy President, your response to that?
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Indeed, Honourable Swart, we don't want the land to lay fallow. I have seen myself traveling in some of the provinces, the same issue you're talking about. What we have decided to do, Honourable Swart, is that when we do land reform and we distribute land, we ensure land restitution, we need to ensure that the people who are settling on those land, particularly farming land, have the capacity to till the land. And now it has not always been the case in the past. But even where government has helped, sometimes you find that the associations that get established to manage these projects, they are then engulfed with conflict and so on. So we need to be alive to all these issues. So I'm happy that the Commission on Land Restitution is coming up with this project that is going to unblock all this. But in particular, the Ministry of Land Reform and the Ministry of Agriculture jointly need to be able to support these people because most of them will fall under the category of emerging farmers. If they don't have proper equipment and so on, they won't be able to utilize the land properly. But I agree with you that we should not allow land to lay fallow. Government must intervene quickly. We have noticed that some people who have applied for land, some of them really don't want to farm. Some people also have taken money instead of land. But those who want to farm, we're going to assist them to be able to farm. Because if we have farmland, arable land, it should not go to waste. So we will definitely, in the coming months, that's going to be the focus of the Minister of Land Reform to really ensure that this matter is addressed, that no land goes to waste. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Peter.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Greetings to the President. Deputy President. Currently, my Deputy President, black farmers receive short, ineffective workshops rather than consistent practical training and technical guidance after claiming the land. For example, it was found that since 2006, the proactive land acquisition strategy has spent over 12 billion to acquire farms, yet 75% of these 397 out of 529, backed by 3.4 billion rand from the recapitalization and development program, remains either subsistence-based or inactive. My Deputy President, what bold practical measures is the government taking to overhaul post-settlement supporting training? And what will these measures entail? And what is their progress, my Honorable Deputy President? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peter. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you, Honorable Peter. Yes, as I said earlier, we have realized as government that we need to increase support to ensure that people succeed in utilizing the land that is distributed to them. We've also seen some very interesting, successful models. I was in the Free State last month, and I visited farmers who are selling apples. And I realized that their model there is the emerging black farmers have partnered with white farmers who were there before with a lot of skills and so on. And their project is very successful because the emerging farmers have been trained, but they are equal partners in the project. So all of them are putting efforts there. And I must thank the Free State government for having assisted those projects. After they got a grant from the Free State government, they were so successful now that they were able to go to the IDC for a loan, which they have received. And they are now able to export their products internationally. So I think with adequate support from government at provincial level, but also national level, to these people who are receiving land, these projects are going to be successful. We just need to make sure that there are good development financing models that are there to assist to ensure that land reform becomes successful. I do want to see a situation in many of these provinces where this arable land is put to good use. And this model that I'm speaking about, I've also seen it in Mpumalanga. When I visited Mpumalanga, I found that there are these partnerships of those who have the experience and the skills working with the emerging ones, and together they are implementing very successful projects. It's something that we are encouraging as well. But as I said earlier, government will put more resources in support of people who are claiming land, but also support them, those who want to farm, to be able to use the land productively. Thank you, Honorable Peter.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move on to the next question, and that is question number 5, that deals with the reassessment of troops. And the question was put by the Honorable Mokoena, but it has been informed that the Honorable Majola will stand in for the Honorable Mokoena. Honorable Deputy President, your response to that question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Let me thank Honorable Mokoena, represented by Honorable Majola now, for this important question during this time of our history. Honorable members, South Africa remains committed and supportive to ongoing peace efforts on the African continent, in line with our own foreign policy vision of a prosperous and peaceful continent. South Africa's contribution in peace support operations should not be measured in isolation, as the country participates through missions mandated and/or authorized by multilateral institutions such as the United Nations, African Union, and South African Development Community, SADC. Honorable Chairperson, undertaking peacekeeping responsibility involves serious challenges and uncertainties. the recent death of 14 brave SNDF soldiers in the DRC who were dedicated to their mission and committed to peace is a clear indication of these challenges. Once again, we would like to send our deepest condolences to the families of the deceased SNDF soldiers and also wish those injured speedy recovery. Chairperson, on the 13th of March this year, the South African Development Community, SADC, held an extraordinary summit to address the security situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The summit expressed concern over the ongoing deterioration of the situation in the eastern DRC and resolved, amongst other things, to do the following. Firstly, to terminate the mandate of the SAMI DRC and directed the commencement of a phased withdrawal of SAMI DRC troops from the DRC. Secondly, to emphasize its commitment to addressing the ongoing conflict in the DRC and supporting interventions for lasting peace and security in Eastern DRC in line with the SADC Mutual Defense Pact of 2003. Third, reaffirm commitment to continue supporting the DRC in its pursuit of safeguarding its independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, sustainable peace, security, and development. And fourth, to reiterate the decision from the joint summit of the East African Community and SADC to merge the Luanda and Nairobi processes and inclusion of more facilitators to enhance the building process. Honorable Chairperson, let me reiterate that the decision by SADC to withdraw the SADC mission in the DRC should not be seen as a sign of defeat or an abandonment of our peace effort. Rather, it should be seen as a confidence-building measure to ensure peace and stability in the Eastern DRC. To further strengthen the peacekeeping efforts, the joint summit of the heads of states and government of the East African Community and SADC held a virtual meeting on the 24th of March to deliberate on the report of the joint EAC and SADC ministers on the security situation in the Eastern DRC. The joint summit directed the commencement of the implementation of the report and the roadmap. The joint summit also appointed eminent persons and a panel of facilitators to oversee the implementation of this process that includes, amongst others, former President Kgalema Motlanthe to be part of this panel. In conclusion, Chairperson, in this context, we welcome the recent progress and commitment made by the East African Community and SADC, and we also welcome the government of the DRC and Rwanda's commitment to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. The President and myself will also continue intervention in other parts of the continent, including South Sudan, to try and avert the return to full-scale war and holding instead of peaceful elections in that country. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We go to the first follow-up question, and that is from the Honorable Majola.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. And thank you very much, Deputy President, for your detailed responses. On your responses, you highlighted a number of intended outcomes with regards to our involvement in DRC. You further, on your responses, emphasize the support and the further commitment by the SADC. Deputy
President, with regards to the resolution taken at the summit, the SADC summit, can you please provide us with the action plan by the government in terms of implementing the resolutions by the SADC summit in terms of addressing the recent, the recurring challenges with the measurable outcomes in peacekeeping operation in DRC. Thank you. And time frames, if you can, Deputy President. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majola. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majola. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Majola, as I said earlier, that we as the South African government are in full support of the decisions of the summit by the East African Community and SADC. And we are also in support of the Luanda and Nairobi processes, which are now going to be joined. And really the issue there with the Luanda and Nairobi process is to ensure that they consolidate the issue of peaceful negotiations. Because the summit has taken a decision for unconditional ceasefire, one of the immediate actions that is required is for the withdrawal of troops from the DRC. We have agreed to that, but of course, as I indicated, that it will be a phase out process where this will be done in phases, because we also have a lot of equipment, as our troops have a lot of equipment there, so they need to be an organized way in which they are going to withdraw. And this withdrawal is then going to ensure that the negotiations are given a chance, hence the appointment of the panel of eminent persons, those former presidents who have been appointed, 5 of them, to ensure that they engage all the warring parties to ensure that even M23 is engaged to ensure that there is peace. So we will watch the process from our side to ensure that where we are required to assist, we do so, but we are going to put more efforts now on the negotiation side of things as the troops start to withdraw from those parts of the Eastern DRC. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question that comes from the Honorable Mananiso.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson, and as well, Dumela, Deputy President. Ke rata go leboga gore o arabile Honorable Majola so extensively, and I'm happy that on your response you said our contribution must not be measured in isolation. I want to ask you that can you tell the country and take them in confidence what lessons have we learned as government in terms of SADC issue on the DRC? And number 2, I want to check with you, Deputy President, the impact on our country standing as a player in African peacekeeping, particularly on our quest to promote solidarity, peaceful resolution of conflicts, to achieve the African Agenda 2063. Ke batla we arabe ka puo ya gamme seshangane silungu. Ke a leboga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mananiso. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Mananiso, cancer for me botisa imakaya DRC ne hlamuserile gore se tabuya a DRC. In other words, masoja la aina afana buya kaya. Leswi swi ta endla ku ri nyiketa mhaka ta ku vulavurisana ku va tona leti ta hi sizaku ku ri hi heta nyimpi leyi nga kona laha DRC. We are very convinced, Honorable Mananiso, that success in this regard comes with collaboration. We didn't go there on our own in South Africa and say we will resolve the DRC conflict. We are working through the UN, we are working through SADC and the AU. So we are part of those efforts. Even where we contributed troops, you'll recall that we also had Malawi was part of that, Tanzania was part of that. So we're not alone, we're never alone. We work with others. This idea of working together, of collaborating, is very important. And if we succeed, which we must, this will then help us to be able to then succeed in implementing Agenda 2063, which is the Africa we want, because we want to focus on development. But if there are conflicts in the continent and people are engaged in war, we're not going to be successful in ensuring that there's development in the continent. So we are learning good lessons, but we are also taking lessons where we go, because we ourselves come from a history where we were in a country which there was conflict, but through negotiations at the end, we managed to succeed, and we are now building this democratic country. We are taking this experience to other countries in the continent to say to them, you too can do it. If you sit down and negotiate honestly, you can resolve your conflict through these negotiations and not war. Akensa Mananiso na hleketa ku swatwaka. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move to the next question that comes from the Honorable Brits.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Deputy President, whether on land, at sea, or in the air, the SANDF's capabilities are severely hamstrung, and its budget has been shrunk and fruitlessly wasted over the past 3 decades, rendering it unable to achieve its main constitutional mandate, which is to defend South Africa's borders. Yet, 2,900 troops were deployed to the DRC in December 2023 and redeployed in December 2024 at a cost of 2.4 billion rand. Given the loss of lives and lack of measurable outcomes, do you agree that prioritizing the provisions of the Constitution would have been a better strategy rather than chasing the ANC's regional ambitions in the DRC?
Thank you very much, Honorable Brits. Honorable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Brings, indeed, the South African National Defence Force does require additional funding so that they can have proper equipment and so on, not only to be able to, participate in peaceful missions, but also overall for the growth of the Defence Force in being able to protect our country properly. I can confirm, Honorable Brings, that in the budget tabled by Minister of Finance, you would have noticed that the minister in his speech did talk about increased funding for the South African National Defence Force, totaling over the MTF, if I'm not wrong, about 5 billion. And there may be more that the Defence Force will need to be able to be well equipped. But at least there's a start and a good start in that direction, that funds are now being made available in this budget. And hopefully, as the economy improves in the coming years, surely funding to equip our security forces will remain a priority so that we are able to do our work properly. But we must not retreat from supporting peace initiative in the continent. I think it's important, and not only for the continent, but for ourselves as South Africa. For us to develop our country properly, we need an Africa that is peaceful, an Africa that is developing, and where we can play a role, we should continue to do so. So, Honorable Briggs, I hope that you will support the budget when it comes through, because this budget will ensure that we now put more resources to support our troops, to support the South African National Defence Force and other security forces. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Kennedy.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Good afternoon, Honourable Deputy President. Honourable Deputy President, as we know, peacekeeping missions are very important in order to maintain peace and security across the region. But our mission to the Democratic Republic of Congo was, however, a very expensive and humiliating mission. In light of this, what role is our diplomatic community playing to keep the peace throughout Africa, even with our enemies? Are trade relations not a vital piece of sustaining peace and security? And are there any plans to intensify trade with our African neighbors to ease relations and to prevent war and violence in any form? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Kennedy. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Kennedy. You would remember, Honourable Kennedy, that we are part of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Now, the African Continental Free Trade Area, it's the emphasis on trade. We want to trade more with other countries in the region, but also in the continent as a whole. So we are paying attention to issues of trade. And I'll give you an example. When I was in South Sudan last year, one of the discussion I had with President Salva Kiir was the issue of trade and investments, where President Salva Kiir said, look, we have a lot of arable land here, but we are not farmers. Can we ensure that South African farmers can come here and help us, to produce food in this country, because we have land, and in that case, they will be involved in business themselves. But also other ministers from our government have been in South Sudan. The Minister of Minerals and Resources, there are South African companies in South Sudan. Also, in the DRC, there are South African companies that are operating there. So the issue of trade is not put aside. Rather, what we are doing is to focus on ensuring that there is peace in the continent so that trade and investment can thrive, particularly because we already have a framework of the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. So I agree with you that wars are expensive, and in most cases, continuation of just being involved in war in the long run is not going to benefit the population productively. So more resources must go to trade and economy, but also, as you said, intensifying diplomatic missions, engagements. In fact, Minister Lamola was currently meeting with some of the role players from the DRC precisely to use this approach of mediation, of diplomatic engagements to get a resolution of the conflict. We will do so in many countries where we're involved, including in South Sudan. We will be, my president and I will be engaging the leaders there to ensure that we can use our diplomacy, our diplomatic missions to be able to assist. So yes, thank you for that follow-up question. I think it's a very important one, but I must assure you that we are doing exactly that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now go to the last set of questions, and that is the question number 6, that deals with governments as a social partner in collaborations. And the question was posed by the Honorable Feni, and I'm told that the Honorable Modise will be taking this question. Honorable Deputy President, your response to the question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Let me thank Honorable Feni, now represented by Honorable Modise, for this important question. Honorable Chairperson, the Human Resource Development Council has already signed 3 social compacts that are aimed at strengthening relationships and positively impacting the human development value chain in our country. The 3 social compacts are focusing on the following thematic areas. 1, building the foundations for learning. 2, building skills for a transformed economy and society. And 3, building a capable and developmental state. Each social compact reflects specific interventions that social partners implement in a coordinated manner to address the identified skills shortages. The signing of these compacts demonstrate government and social partner collaboration to address skills shortages in critical economic sectors. On Tuesday, the 5th of November 2024, in my capacity as the chairperson of the HRDC, I had an opportunity to successfully chair the inaugural meeting of the newly appointed council members for the next 5 years. The HRDC has since developed and approved a reconceptualized human resource development strategy 2024 to 2033 and the Master Skills Plan 2024 to 2030 with 4 key goals, and namely Goal 1, improving early learning and schooling outcomes. Goal 2, improving the employability of youth who are not in education, employment, or training. Goal 3, improving responsiveness of the post-school education and training system to skills demand. And Goal 4, improving governance, leadership, and management in the public sector. The HRDC and its implementation plan, the Master Skills Plan, are designed to support the National Development Plan's Vision 2030, which focuses on economic growth, job creation, and poverty reduction. Honorable Chairperson, the Minister of Higher Education and Training officially launched Phase 1 of the National Skills Fund Disabilities Program 2024 to 2025 in November last year. This transformative initiative aims to empower more than 10,000 persons with disabilities in South Africa through tailored training programs, stipends, and other specialized tools. This program is implemented in partnership with the Department of Women, Youth and People with Disabilities and the Department of Social Development, who are collaborating through efforts to advance disability inclusion in the South African Human Resource Development Strategy. Through our TVET colleges, government is increasing the production of artisans. This is part of the shift we are undertaking towards education and skills development that combines formal learning with job training. As part of government collaboration with social partners, during May 2024, I launched the South African National Service Initiative, SANSI, which is a joint initiative by the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities and the South African National Defence Force. The initiatives aim to empower young TVET and university graduates through a purposeful skill pipeline, fostering innovative entrepreneurship and long-term sustainable employment through purposeful and smooth pipeline. Furthermore, the government is utilizing sector-specific master plans to promote inclusive economic growth and combat unemployment. The DTI is implementing 7 master plans, with one recently launched which utilizes industrial policy tools to develop export capabilities, regain domestic market share, and create sustained economic employment. In conclusion, Chairperson, we reiterate the call by President Ramaphosa on the private sector to offer young people experimental learning opportunities while they undertake their studies as part of their commitment to a social compact of building skills for a transformed economy and society. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. Now we go on to the first follow-up question, and that will be taken by the Honorable Modise.
Oi, Deputy President, oi. DP, I'm sure Honorable Feni, wherever he is, he's very pleased with the detailed response from the question that he had posed. And if it's possible, DP, I would ask that you send that response so that we can post it on our social media platforms, because it speaks to frustrated young people out there, and the response is so detailed. And I personally pleased to know that there's a master skills plan that is already in place with different thematic topics that we want to enter into, and so that young people can assist in rallying behind government. So it will be unfair for me to say, let me post a follow-up question, because I'm sure the response will be, as I've already responded, and I don't want that when I ask questions. And the only thing I can ask from you, DP, is that on behalf of the people of South Africa, because I know they won't do it, you wish a happy birthday to Honorable Member Mza Mobili. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Order, honorable members, we have not come to the end of the session. Honorable Modise, I must caution you that in the House, it's the Honorable Deputy President, not DP.
Noted.
Thank you very much. Honorable Deputy President, I didn't see a question there, but if you want to respond to Honorable Modise, you may do so.
Thank you, Chairperson. And I'm sure, Chairperson, you will wish Honorable Nzamo Billy the happy birthday. I will ask my office to send the question as requested by Honorable Modise at the end of this session. But thank you very much, Honorable Modise, for that. There are a number of other initiatives which we will include in the document we'll send to you, because there are programs like the National Youth Policy, and we have education skills and second chances, economic transformation, entrepreneur and job creation, physical and mental health promotion. There are a number of programs that really are targeting our young people to ensure that they become productive. We don't want to see, Honorable Modise, anymore this talk about unemployed graduates. We want this to be something of the past. And therefore, we must support young people. And that's why I'm making a call to the private sector. We are doing it already in government. All government departments are offering learning opportunities. This experiential opportunity to young people, we are doing it. We want the private sector to do it. If we do so, we will see less and less young people in our streets. Thank you very much, Honorable Modise.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We go on to the next follow-up question that comes from the Honorable Badenost.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. I think, Deputy President, Honorable Modise meant you should send cake, not answers to questions. But anyway, let's move on. Deputy President, whilst the national average for youth unemployment sits at 45.5%, the DA-run Western Cape has managed to bring this disturbing figure down by 15.5 percentage points. This, Deputy President, has not happened by accident. The Western Cape government has implemented an industry-driven skills development model aimed at aligning educational outcomes with the specific needs of its key economic sectors. This approach focuses on creating a skilled workforce tailored to the demands of local industries and thereby enhancing economic growth and reducing unemployment. A great example of this, Deputy President, is the Western Cape Premier's Council on Skills, bringing together government, business and academia to match the training with the market demand through our youth cafes all over the province, actively helping young people to gain work readiness. No master plans, no lots of talking, no fanfare, actual stuff working on the ground. My question, Deputy President, is why has the national government not scaled the Western Cape's model of industry-driven skills pipelines in sectors like tourism, agriculture and tech, which have proven success in tackling youth unemployment, as is evident in the DA-run Western Cape? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Badenost. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Badenost, I'm sure you will favor me with the document that you are referring to, so I can see it. But let me say that already the presidency has initiated a number of programs that target young people. Of course, we would appreciate that provinces as well should do so. I'm sure if I ask all provinces to send me what they are doing, they will be able to do so. Then I'll be able to assess where we need to intensify. The Presidential Youth Employment Service has been rolled out, and this projects, some of them are already reaching more than 1 million young people, and this is driven from the presidency. There are programs like the Effective and Responsive Youth Development Machinery. So this number of initiatives will be cascaded down to provinces. Obviously, where provinces are already having their own initiatives, we will support that as national government. The provinces just need to favor us with their plans. We'll look at that, and we will be able to support as much as we can, whether it's the Western Cape, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal. The role of national government is to offer support to all provinces, because we are happy when we see provinces taking initiatives. So, Honorable Badenhorst, let's get those plans, let's see them, because you are saying national government is not supporting. I'm not sure if you have favored us with those plans. Please do so. But I will ask my office to just ask all the other provinces to tell us what they are doing. Because I think it's important that we put formidable plans in place to support young people in all our provinces. If we do so, we will succeed to take away young people off the streets and into productive employment opportunities that are sustainable. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question that comes from the Honourable Mashabeni.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Deputy President, the fact of the matter, unemployment in this country is a serious issue. The fact of the matter, unemployment in this country is a serious issue. And there seems to be a misalignment between the skills that South African employers demand and the skills which our young people possess. And the education system seems to be failed to equip our young people with the practical skills and industrial knowledge needed to hit the ground running. Given this stark reality, why has it taken you so long to make progress on this collaboration intervention which you speak of today? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mashabeni. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Mashabeni, for the follow-up. Yes, indeed, it must have taken long, but we have started. One of the things we're doing now, we're encouraging young people to consider TVET colleges for training. We know that our young people like going to universities, but many TVET colleges offer practical skills that ensures that once the students are done, they are ready for employment. But I emphasized earlier, Honorable Mashabeni, that practical skills sometimes are achieved if we take young people as interns in our government departments, whether it's national, provincial, local government, but also in the private sector itself. When young people come in as interns, they learn the skills. That's why we don't support this approach that young people, when they look for employment opportunities, they are asked if they have 5-year experience. Where should they get it? Because they just come from learning institutions. They must be brought in for internships so that we can assist them to be able to acquire the skills. So the misalignment you are alluding to, Honorable Mashabeni, is as a result of students going to university, studying particular subjects, but when they come out where they should be employed, they don't have skills for that. And I'll give you an example. I was recently in Tokyo in Japan, and I visited a company called Isuzu. Now, Isuzu has invested a lot in South Africa. In fact, they build their cars in the Eastern Cape. Now, I asked them a question because when I visited their factory, I saw a lot of young people working in the assembly line as to how do these young people acquire skills. And the response from the CEO of the company was that no, a lot of them, we bring them here without skills, but we train them. We have a program where we train these young people. They come from different colleges. They are not trained to assemble a Isuzu truck, but the company itself has put in a mechanism to ensure that they can then put these young people through training, maybe for 6 months, then they are able to get into their jobs. And they do perfect jobs. So we should be doing the same in South Africa, especially our companies. Take more young people, train them. They may come with education that is not aligned to your area of work, but train them to be able to do that. Young people are trainable. And that's really the approach we must take. But let's really just encourage our young people to go to TVET colleges as well. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. The final follow-up question comes from the Honourable Farmer.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Deputy President. Deputy President, it fascinates me that Honourable Badenhorst can refer to all these EPWP appointments in the Western Cape as a skilled workforce. Deputy President, the narrative of black in general and African in particular, after President Ramaphosa declared colored people as African also, what is the progress to eradicate the differentiation between racial groups on official government
Point of order, Chair.
And documentation?
Honourable Farmer, could you please take your seat? Honourable Badenhorst, on what rule are you rising?
Honourable Chair, I rise on Rule 61B.
Okay, go ahead.
No delegate may deliberately make a statement which the delegate knows to be false. This delegate has just cast aspersion on me to say that I referred to EPWP workers in my question to the Deputy President, and this whole House sat here as witnesses. I didn't use one reference to EPWP. I would like him to retract that, please.
Thank you very much. I didn't quite hear the issue of the reference to EPWP in your question, so we will allow the Honourable Farmer to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. And we all know what the skilled workforce is. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Farmer. Honourable Deputy President, I hope you heard the question that was posed by the Honourable Farmer.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. I was also not quite sure whether Honourable Farmer meant that what Honourable Badenhorst was alluding to as their involvement in skilling young people and putting them into employment opportunities is not quite accurate. I was not sure whether he was saying that. But I'd already, in fact, responded to that by saying that I'll ask Honourable Badenhorst to favour me with the document of explaining what is happening there. We can also ask the Western Cape government itself, no problem. The point I wanted to emphasize, Honourable Chairperson, is that let's skill our young people, firstly by ensuring that they utilize. There are a lot of TVET colleges in the country now. But young people, if we don't channel them there, they choose universities. And sometimes in universities, when they come out, a lot of industry are looking for particular skills, bricklayers, mechanics, and so on. And you find that these young people don't have those skills. They didn't acquire them at university because they studied other courses there. That's the point I was making, that let's channel them to TVET colleges. But secondly, both government and the private sector must intensify internships of bringing young people and train them. The example I was giving of Isuzu in Japan, of bringing these young people. In fact, when we asked them a question, and I asked them this question, their response initially made people laugh, because the CEO says, no, we just take these young people from everywhere. And people are saying, oh, you just go into the streets and bring young people. But then they said, no, what we mean is that we don't require the skills to build the cars, the trucks from them. They come here, we train them. And you must see the work that they're doing. It's happening also in our country. I visited BMW and I found a lot of young people working there, and they said, look, they've got a training center somewhere in Pretoria where they train young people. I want more private companies to do the same, government departments to do the same. Like the SANSI project we're doing with the South African National Defence Force. We need more of these projects because we need to take away our young people away from the streets so that they become productive in society. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. Honourable delegates, I would like to thank the Honourable Deputy President for his responses in this House, and as always, we truly welcome the Deputy President and his responses to the questions. I also like to thank the MECs, all permanent delegates and special delegates, and SALGA representatives for availing themselves for the sitting in the House. Before I conclude, I would like to wish the Honourable Mzamo Billy a very happy birthday. We wish you well, and may you have many more. And before the Honourable Badenos starts singing and disturbing all of us, Honourable delegates, that closes the business of the day. The House is now adjourned. Honourable Badenos, you may now sing.